Hello, everyone. This is Pradeep, and I have my friend with me today, Rikesh. Hi, Rikesh.
How you doing? All right?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks. How are you?
All good.
First of all, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
No problem at all. Rikesh is my friend, and we used to play badminton, I think, back in 2018. We both have struggled a lot because of being overweight.
Yeah.
And then we have massively turned it down,
Okay.
right from overweight to perfect shape. And we have gone through like,
Got rounds, the double cycles.
yeah, we have done the cycle. So, what we can do is we can give something to the society, to the community, and there are do's and don'ts. I got this rebound 2 times,
Right.
and I thought like there's something which we are missing. Let's discuss about that one thing, being on camera, and from today to, let's say, I set a target of 100 days from today.
Mhm.
And then what I am after the 100th day and what I am today, we will see. And all these things which we are discussing today, we will follow. I will follow myself.
I'll be happy to analyze you in the next 100 days.
Right. So first of all, thank you very much. And I like to, I want to request you to give a little bit of your introduction about yourself,
Right.
so that everyone can think like what you are and what you are not.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the reason being here and then kind of discussing on this topic, my name is Rick. I guess my journey kind of started with, as a fitness or kind of diet in general, really since I was young, to be fair. So I think I've always more or less been overweight. As a child growing up, was mostly overweight. But I think in 2016, so it wasn't long before I actually met you, I got diagnosed with heavy diabetes. And I think that was for me the first strokes. I think it's very common. Hearing a lot of people obviously try and make a change after you get given news such as that. But mine was really bad. So I think the first part of the journey started with trying to understand where I come from. And I think looking back, there was no ownership back then. So I still remember the days of 2016. I was always out multiple times a night, drinking, eating, everything in excess, enjoyment, but never really stopped to think what I'm eating, what I'm doing, how much exercise I'm doing. So it wasn't until then where I really then started to think about it.
So just talking in between, can I ask you a question? So when you were in that sort of era, did you ever thought you will get into trouble or not because you were so young?
I never. Well, I think diabetes kind of it runs in the family a little, so there's always something that was known to me, and that is actually really interesting because now looking back, I think up until that point, there wasn't ever a thought about what I was doing in terms of food. I don't think I had a problem, but I would never stop to think, this is what I'm eating, this is what I'm doing. I'm not exercising. There was definitely no structure to what I was eating and how. I think that word diabetes has always been around since I was younger. Not that I fully probably understood it back then. I didn't really probably know what diabetes meant, but it was just a word that I'd always heard thrown around since I was young. And reflecting back, probably a lot of the choices that I made were quite dependent on that word, because you fear this word, but you don't really know what it means and what it means for you. And I was young, so it's not that the problem was going to hit me right away as I thought. So it was being a bit reckless and kind of careless in terms of just doing what I wanted.
So when was that first thing or that day when something hit you and you decided to turn the table?
Probably a week after I got told that I was a diabetic, because I remember coming out of the GP's office when I got diagnosed, I just thought, yeah, I knew it. Like, you don't want to truly believe it, but you also don't want to blame. Yeah, you want to blame anyone, but yourself in that regard. So I thought, yeah, so literally, yeah, I knew that was going to come. It had to come at some point. So there was a lot of denial. There was a lot of yeah. There's a lot of thinking going on that week. So it wasn't really until after a week where I thought, right, need to do something with it.
Yeah. So, you know what? We will go into a flashback a little bit. But before you go into the details of like what you did, how you did, I just want to tell everyone that, I knew from, I think, an year that time, and you were like quite huge. You were a big man. And I still remember when we used to play badminton in the court, is right in front of me. I can't see anything. You were such a big lad. And you know what? And you done your program, and then I think I and my wife,
I remember.
Okay. And you were going the other side of the road, and then you shouted from there. You staying with me. Pradeep. And I was like, who's there? And you were right in front of me, and I couldn't recognize you. Because what I saw you before was like big man, big lad, and your mustache and beard and everything. Yeah. And that day, I think you had like shaved, or I don't know. You're literally, you're literally a different person. Yeah. And I couldn't have more hair. More hair. So, you know what? That was my trigger point when I saw you there. And you won't believe, that day, I looked at myself. I came back home and I looked at myself, and I being overweight all my childhood, when I was really young. You know what? I never thought I can also reduce weight, because only the people who are overweight can understand this problem, that this is a problem.
This is something to accept.
Yeah, this is a problem. It's not like, example, I have glasses, and I have glasses since I was almost 13 or 14. And there are lots of things which I can't do with my glasses. Like when I go in swimming pool, I just struggle, So that's a problem. Similar to that, being overweight all entire life is a problem. A lot of things you can't do, such as sports. When you get into the sports, it really needs a lot of energy, and you're always running out of your energy. It's just one thing, and you get tired easily, and you can't give your 100% at work or family, your kids. Everyone needs you 100%, but being overweight, you can only give them 60%. So when I saw you, if this guy was a fun-loving guy, was always, I never seen you thinking about reducing the weight. I think it was 3 to 4 months. Because when we get into winters, normally we just go, we don't play any sports in here in UK. We kind of go into Christmas mode, starting from October, November, till December. So it was that break. And then when I saw you, it was so basically what you did, can you just tell us?
Yeah. So going right back to that, with me, when I become, if it's the right word, but when I become obsessive about something, I want to see action. But it's, I read a little bit, or I think I understand a little bit, and I just want to go in and do. And I think I took the same approach here. So, like I said, it was probably a week after I got diagnosed when I sat down and thought, right, this is it. I need to do something. And it was a slightly naive approach, you could say, but it turned out being the right approach for me. But in terms of wanting to jump right, I remember doing a little bit of research and what could I do? And I needed to lose weight quickly. But it's important to say at this point, I still didn't understand a lot about the journey to now, and what I know now is so far between.
It is an interesting thing. A lot of people don't think, why am I talking about all this? All this is rubbish, because we can just hit the gym. and go there,
Mm.
and then you say, this is not it. So because our body is something which, as I said, like from childhood, I'm overweight. So I think there's something wrong inside, because I feel like if I eat the same amount of food, and there's a person who eats the same amount of food, he is not gaining the weight that was completely. Our body is different. So it's the metabolism, right? Which kind of like different. If even we have tried it, like I have tried it so many times. I've been to the gym. I was regular. I was disciplined. When I saw you that day, I realized this is something to do with diet, and what we eat is important, because I remember like ordering the pizza and then finishing it all by myself.
Yeah.
The big one. So that was injustice to my body. So
what we eat, what we don't.
Yeah, exactly. And that is why it is important, because no doctor in this world is qualified to suggest you what to eat and what not to eat. They can suggest you once we are bad. They can fix us while recommending a medicine. But they are not trained to tell us what you should eat and what you shouldn't eat. They will say, oh, I think you can follow that, you can follow this. But there is no remedy before, like before you train off your chair. There's no remedy. Like there's no diet, no one in this world tell you. Now it is fashion where we have lots of nutritions and
there's advice everywhere now, isn't it? And it's become more difficult to sit with advice than balance to understand what works. So it's very funny. Like going back to that first day, I still remember I was sat at work. I was reading up some stuff, and I thought I'm gonna give this a go, and I was fasting. And I'd never really fasted before, because even in our culture there is fasting and things like that. I've never really taken part in those things. But previously, I hated the idea of fasting. I wanted to do anything to do with fasting. So there I was, and I thought I'm just gonna do it.
So before you get into this, this is your picture before.
Yeah.
Right. Sorry, carry on.
That's fun. So in this picture, I think so I think at my head I was about 22 stone, maybe just over. Yeah, just over 22 stone. Yeah, so there I was at work, and I just thought I'm going to give this a go. So I started fasting. There, I think I lasted probably a couple of hours. I think I skipped lunch. And I'd eaten breakfast as well that day. So because I got into work and I was just reading something, and I thought, right, let's just give it a go. So I'd already had breakfast, and I thought, I'm going to fast. So what was your weakness before that? Like, is it like sweet? Ever? I was a junk food fiend. But I think one of the worst ones is alcohol. Being in a work environment of socializing. There's a culture for me, like lots of drinking, lots of just eating or whatever. So there's lots of junk, sweets, chocolate, biscuit. I know you have a strong willpower. That day, what hit you inside your brain, your mind, made you end up everything? Well, so that first day, I felt very bad. I skipped months. I was feeling good about myself. And then I think someone in the office was saying I'm going out for drinks, or I think there was a leaving party or something. And I said, no, I'm not going to go. And then about half an hour later, there I was in the pub, like everything gone down and drink. And then the next day, I almost started from scratch. But for the first time, I'd reflected on that day before, whereas normally I'd just be like, just carrying on. But the next day, really hated myself. Really, really hated myself. I sat down and I thought to myself, I've just been told I've got diabetes. It's completely out. And this is very deep, because very rarely in your youth you feel like this is it. Yeah. So it's like a deep hatred, or I was annoyed that I didn't do it. And so I thought, right, let's do a bit more research on what this fasting is and this and that. So I read a little bit more, maybe like another day or two. And I said, okay, I'm going to start on this day. and I'm going to fast. And me wanting to dive in, I said, I'm going to do 7 days. Never done fasting before. I'm going to do 7 days.
It was like intermittent fasting, just to be sure.
Not the first time. That's what I'm saying. It was very naive. I don't suggest people do.
Yeah. So it was like,
this was just how I started it. But after day one, there was so much confidence that I thought that I've just done a full day without eating. And that was huge for me back then. And at that point, it wasn't even about the diabetes. It was just the fact that I said that I was going to do something in terms of diet or food or within that area. An area where I just always accepted what I was and it's never been challenged.
And just to make it clear, it was not only diet, you started walking as well.
So what was walking after, yeah.
So can you tell me, before we get into the food side of it, like how much you used to walk every day?
Well, so walking at around the time when you saw me, I think I was walking anywhere between 25,000 to 30,000 steps a day.
Wow. Yeah. So it's not just like diet, it's
a
discipline.
That was everything. Granted, this was, when you were saying this, that would have been roughly 2017-ish, I think. Yeah. Back in 2016. So the first time I did that fast, after I got through that first day, after feeling a bit more confident, I then just started researching. It's the research that triggered the passion into wanting to do something about this and actually feeling like I could. Nothing was ever going to change that lifestyle unless I did something about it. And the only way that for me, started to do something about it was learning and becoming obsessed in research and what.
And this is interesting because you did it yourself. Like,
yeah.
Did lots of research.
Yeah.
You started walking.
Yeah.
In terms of protein, carbs, and other nutrition, what exactly you cut?
So, if I'm very honest, the beginning part of my journey was fundamentally around fast. So it still wasn't actually about changing the food. So I fasted for those 7 days, and I think I lost. In excess of about 9 kilos.
Right. So just for everyone, a lot of people say like if you don't eat for 3 days, we die. And you literally like fasted for.
That's what I was suggest getting the hearing tonight. But you can't survive without food. I can't.
So that's another myth that you broken. That right.
And what it made me see later on was by doing that. Like I said, nothing happens if you fast for 3 days.
What made you eat after 7 days?
Honestly, not even because I was hungry. I genuinely wasn't hungry. I was just getting really bored of not eating. Nothing to do.
Interesting.
I got fed up of not being able to do something or eat something or do. There wasn't the hunger part.
Right.
And so I did 7 days, and then I think for the next couple of weeks. No, I think it was probably for about a month. I ate, but I just cut out all junk food. Right. So again, I didn't actually change I was still having carbs. I was still eating just.
So when did you introduce the keto diet?
The keto diet came after. I think the keto diet probably kicked in about a month and a half after that. You're talking first week was just all about fasting. Then the next month was just cutting out junk. Yep. So just cutting out all the sweets, chocolates, biscuits, and that was it. And starting to introduce a bit of walking. Right. But in that time, like I said, I was just researching little bits and picking up little bits from here and there. And I caught wind of keto. So then I started looking into keto. So I started doing keto, but when I first started, it wasn't researched properly. So I wasn't doing keto in the best way. Yeah. But I was still doing some sort of keto.
So this is very interesting again for everyone. We are talking about this because we believe this was not right. Because there was something which you were missing. So if we just go really fast in the flashback, so you did your keto for how long and how much? And then when I saw you that from the day one when you started fasting, how much you lost. Can you tell us in the kilogram as well? Because I have some Indian viewers as well.
So like I think at my heaviest, I must have been around 140 kgs or something, maybe just under or somewhere there or thereabouts. When you saw me that day, I think at that point in time, I was probably about 91.
Wow. So it's almost like 50 plus.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it was huge. Yeah. But at that point, there would have been 3 rounds of 7 days fast, walking every single day.
Let me show you a picture when I saw you. So this is your picture. Can you believe it? So thanks, Rikesh, for sharing your story. We will not go into the details of ketosis because I don't want anyone to follow our diet. This is not about, like, we are not experts, but we are just sharing our story. When I saw you, like, you are a different person. And then from there, I think how long to stay in that weight, and when things started going back, I saw you, like, you're not exactly the same like before.
No.
But you gained weight.
And that's the really interesting thing as well. Once you go through a process like this, even if you put weight on, it's not going to be in exactly the same way it was before. Yeah, put on weight. It's an interesting one because now I wouldn't say, I wouldn't outright say that I failed or that we failed.
Yeah.
Weight has come back on. But I know for a fact if I wanted to spend, I don't know, it's difficult because it's not to say this is the right way to do it. But things in the end of the world, life gets in the way. Obviously, life's been really busy. So you slip a little bit. So I think one lesson I've learned in terms of why that was so great, but also not so great at that time, was because I lost all the weight, but I dedicated every single day to being a bit of a runner. So it was very much, doing everything. And like I said, I have a tendency just to jump in and do the most that I can do. But then once they fall off the wagon, but when you let that slip, that's when things start to creep in. And it's helped me to understand a lot more along the way. So I don't think it's very possible to walk 30,000 steps every single day. To stay keto 24 hours a day, every single day. It's very hard to do all of those things. Yeah, and I think at that time I was doing it all at once.
Right.
And it was amazing, but it's only because technically I needed to do that at the time. And so one really interesting topic is, if you are that overweight or if you have a serious issue that you need to resolve for yourself, how far can you go with it before you don't actually want to keep doing that in a normal day's day?
Yeah.
And being that heavily diabetic, I wasn't going to die for fasting for 3 days.
Yeah.
If anything, I've got so much energy to use. There's so much weight. There's so much weight that I can lose just by not eating.
Yeah.
That was fine. But now, I can't remember the last time I did a 7 days fast.
How much then? So for how long do you stay in that phase?
So I think I was probably around 91 I managed to keep it up for about 5 or 6 months.
Yes. And this is very important. I have seen this tendency. 5 to 6 months is the period when you feel best. It's like best feeling of the life.
You feel incredible.
Yeah, because you see yourself in the mirror and you feel like you're the boss. So, and then things start to slip.
Yeah.
Because in my case, this is exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Those 6 to 7 months, I had lots of parties to attend, won a award show for my cricket club. And then they were like birthdays, parties. They were like gathering. And, everyone is coming to you and they were surprised. They appreciate you. And that is where you feel good. And what I did? I was like, I got crazy with my shopping. So I didn't realize, because I never knew this was first time in my life where I reduced the weight and I saw myself like a different person.
Yeah.
So I from almost like, there was a time when I was 108.
Right.
But when I started this, I was like 98. And it was around Diwali period.
Yeah.
And, I love sweets, and especially Indian sweets. During the Diwali period, I was like eating lots of sweets. And that day I remember, what kicked me is, first I saw you, and then there was a box of, kaju in front of me. Yes, everyone's favorite. Every Indian just love kaju. And you won't believe, my wife, she placed that box there. And by the time she went up and come back, I finished that. And she came to me and said, "What did you do? How much sweet you have ate?" And you know what? Something happened inside that day. Yeah. And then I thought, like, enough is enough. I have to do something. I checked my phone. On my Facebook, there was an old, my college friend, and he was huge. And then I saw his transformation picture, and I contacted him. He introduced one guy in India, and he's still basically helping people to reduce weight. He's doing some sort of program. And it is not a keto diet. It is basically a low carb diet. And it is very difficult for a person like me, because I am a vegetarian, and I do not eat like a lot of vegetarian stuff as well. So it's very difficult. When he spoke to me, he said, "Oh man, I don't know what to suggest, because there are a lot of things you don't eat, like chicken and all." Yeah. So person like me is like restricted to leaves and cheese, good yogurt, and very, very tofu. I actually do like tofu, cauliflower, and this sort of thing. So it's basically so he just gave me like, this is what you can eat, but I didn't know like what to do. So thanks to my wife, because she kind of like found different recipes. How and where, I don't know. But I have pictures, and she used to prepare a lot of stuff, which the food is not only about eating, it's about the presentation as well. So when someone gives you food, or even you prepare the food, you can just eat straight away from the pan, right? Put it into a different bowl place. So the presentation, so she used to present in such a way. So that's why I say it was not at all just my journey. Yeah. It was my family journey. Because everyone supported my kids, my wife. Yeah. They just made sure that what I want to eat, I get that. And at the same time, my work commitments and everything. So, why we are sharing our story, some people will think it's very easy sitting here talking, but not eating. You need a strong willpower. You do. It's easier saying, but to cut yourself to the food you love and you ate all your life, and for 2 to 3 months, it's a difficult.
It is 100%. And I mean, even going back to keto, I'll always love the idea of keto, but it's more so because of what keto did for. I mean, funny enough, keto put the fun into food for me. So I've always been passionate about food, like good food, although I used to get got junk. When I started looking into keto, there's so much to learn about keto and do keto properly. And there'll be lots of people, even now, that you hear that are still properly keto. But a lot of people hear keto, and all they hear is high fat. It's just fat. I can't convince it. If you actually research it, when I started doing keto, like I said, I was doing it once. I had so much weight that I could lose. I had so much energy that my body already had that it could burn. Yet, when I looked into keto first, it's all about fat. So as long as you cut out the carbohydrates.
Yes. It's interesting you're talking about fat. Sorry. This fat, I just want to tell everyone there are 2 types of fat in our body. One is thin and one is visceral fat.
Yep.
And this sort of diet, like low carb and keto, is basically help you reduce your visceral fat, because thin fat you can easily get rid of, like by exercise, walking. But the visceral fat, which is kind of like really inside you with your organs, that is very hard to melt down. So just to let everyone know that when you go on some sort of intermittent fasting or keto diet or low carb diet, it helps you to reduce your skin fat so fast. Then once it goes into ketosis mode, it really helps you to kill that visual fat by eating fat. Sorry, I wanted to talk.
No, 100%. And one of the biggest things I learned for myself was, like I said, because I had so much weight, didn't need to eat that much fat. And it was something really simple, but at that point, I couldn't understand because I'd gone from eating a lot of junk or thinking that carbs is the culprit now. How do I live a life without carbs? That this is impossible.
Yeah.
To then trying to make keto work and probably overeating or fat. But the problem is it's not that the weight was then in the ballooning even more because eating more fat, because it's still beneficial, but I didn't need that much fat. Where my body already had so much fat. So again, it's understanding keto and how to be clever with it.
Yeah.
And then not that period lasted long. It was probably as in the first month that I was on keto, I was making a couple of those mistakes, but researching more, keto then really became a powerful tool for me at that time.
Yeah.
Because at that time I was heavily diabetic and there was a lot about diabetes that I needed to understand. Yeah. And this is why I love this topic as well, because it's not just simple cut where if you've got this, just do this and that's it. It's no, you have to understand diabetes and what that's actually doing for me. So why was keto good for me? Because I was a diabetic. It's not just the fact.
And this is interesting because I remember like 6-7 months back when we were talking about this topic, you said that now you have a very refined way of thinking. When you think back of keto, you won't do it now because you have done tons of research. You will do it efficiently. And sorry, you want to talk about that?
Well, it's not that I've never done it. I still cycle in and out of keto, but I don't do keto constantly. And that's not because it can potentially be dangerous. Me personally, I don't actually see much danger in doing keto. But I do think that it's extremely difficult to stick to. So people that do, incredible. If you do it the right way, it can work. I think for me, along the journey, I'd always partly be keto, or low carb. Where I am now is trying to understand the different parts of my own journey. When you hear a lot of people say, stop doing this diet, stop going on this fat diet. You're going to go on a diet and you're just going to put on loads of weight as soon as you finish the diet. And a lot of it's actually just common sense. Like, if you're really heavy or if you've got a lot of weight to lose, any diet that you follow, you're going to lose weight.
Yeah. This is really interesting. So when we say like we are going to follow some sort of diet, and diet is always difficult. We need strong willpower. This is something like when we started this episode, we spoke about that one thing. So let's get into that now, because we have discussed enough about keto, losing weight, and where we were. I think we did need a strong willpower. We know that. But willpower comes from the mindset. And then the one thing which we were missing, and which I was missing, and I realized this in 2 times when I reduced the weight massively, drastically, like 20 plus. Because if we lose weight like more than 20 kilograms or 25 kilograms, and obviously you have done a long cycle of your intermittent fasting or the program you have followed. And then it come back again after 6-7 months. Why? What I have realized is the one from which I was missing during these 2 times was the willpower was there, the mindset was there, the discipline was also there for 2 to 3 months. But in between, what I was missing is the meditation. And from last 2 to 3 months, I started getting into the meditation, and how it helps me is basically with my breathing. But then I realized it has, a strong control over mind. So what happens is when you do your program and then you come out of it, then you want to eat everything which you were missing. So someone says like the breed we take is like limited.
Right.
And if we take it slowly, then you will live longer. I know this is, I don't know. I'm not claiming. Some people say that. So a lot of these yogis happened past. They had that capability of controlling their breed and they live longer.
Yep.
Or they like control even they kind of like they used to stop their breed, and there were like a lot of evidences of that.
Right.
But coming back to the point, when I started to go into the meditation, I started to feel like I can control my mind.
Right.
And this is not only helping me with my food, but it also helps me with my work. And this helps me to get rid of those things which I always wanted, except weight.
Right.
For example, like easily getting frustrated, annoyed with someone, getting angry. So I believe if we add this bit into our diet or a program, then we can stay in our weight for longer, because then you can control your mind. So when your mind is telling you, okay, go and eat, so you can still go out and eat. But then your mind tells you, okay, stop. You have eaten enough. I think this is that one thing which I have now introduced. And I want to, why I thought of like, coming live on camera, because I want to see myself responsible, controlling my mind. I record myself. Every week I'll give updates, how much I lose. And then let's say mid of April, end of April, I reach to my target. From there to December 2026, I like to see myself, because last 2 times I failed. I say failed because I never wanted to come back, because I got rid of all my clothes, but then I have to buy them again. So I have, you won't believe, I have exercise, I have large, I have medium, and I have small as well. I don't know which one I will fit after 3 or 4 months. So that is my life. A lot of my friends are frustrated with me because they say that, what man, every season you are different. So they are quite used for seeing me different. And I remember your wife Sita. There was a picture of mine on Instagram, and I was like, I grown my beard, and I was like very thin.
Yeah.
And she couldn't recognize me, and then said, "Look at you, man. You are a different person." I want to show that photo here. So you know what? All this thing, I kind of like personally, my personal experience. I now started following some sort of meditation. And I believe whatever going on, in our lives, it's just our body, right? It's just a gross body, mind, that is a, do this, eat that, walk there, talk to that person, talk to that friend. That friend is not talking to you. You are sad, you are annoyed, you are happy. All those feelings. And then there is one side of you which has nothing to do with this. And that's where you can control and channelize your brain in such a way that it is not about food, it's not about exercise, it's not about anything else which matters. And how we can discipline ourselves from the mind. That from here, how you have to live your life. And you don't care about your life anymore, because how long will you don't care? How you want to live is like every single day you're living the best of your life.
100%. I'll add to that. I think it gets caught up in what you're saying as well. But for me personally, just how I feel, was not advice, but it's how I feel. Unless you're willing to, or unless your environment changes, something changes, you can only initiate more change after you introduce something. If you go back to that person I was then, or if I went back to that person then, I wouldn't listen to me. Because like I said, the lifestyle then was just what I knew, was what I'd gotten used to. I couldn't ever see anything different apart from we have parties. We've got birthday parties here. We've got work meetings. So I'm going to be drinking. We go for nice lunches when I'm at work. I think this is like the idea of saying no to something was not an option. But there was so much that I was kind of wrapped up in that. It wasn't just because I felt like I couldn't say no. I didn't think I was ever going to change anyway. I didn't think it was in the cards for me to be a lower weight than I was at that time. There's so many factors that decided what the decisions that you made, and that's what's really interesting. And as I said, on this whole journey, the way I see it now, it's different phases. I'm not at the best I want to be. So this is actually really good because I'll take some accountability to do the next phase.
Yes.
But interestingly, when you say fail, and I don't think you failed either. I actually say it's moving out of one thing into another thing, because when I was that able, and I lost it all, and it's not even that I kind of showed myself what was capable. Because even if I spent the next 3 months doing what I think is viable now, I won't be as aggressive as I was with myself.
And it's interesting because it's not only about what you're eating. There's a lot of blame on in your life. There's not like your work, your family. Mm-hmm. And what hit me one day, so, there's a band called Beatles, in the past, right? Mm-hmm. And they have, like, when they used to launch their albums, they used to like a teaser, like a poster. And one of their poster, I see, like, there were few gurus. Like, there was a poster where a lot of people faces they are, shown on the poster. And there were like some Indian yoga gurus. And I saw it like randomly somewhere. And I was like, what? How come on Beatles, like a poster, there are some Indian gurus? And I wanted to do some research. So I did some research, and it just blew me. You would not believe the gurus they were following were like actually the source of origin of, there's a term called kriyayoga. And I just got into this more and more because it hit me like, I'm hungry for this. I need to know what exactly is this. Mm-hmm. Because before that, I'm a religious guy, but not at that level. Mm-hmm. I'm just not, But this is not about religion. This is about spirituality, right? The spiritualism. And when I saw, this all lead me to a book. Mm-hmm. And the book's name is Autobiography of the Yogi. Mm-hmm. And this book was launched, I think, in the 1940s. And I recommend this book to everyone, because it changed my mindset, not only for food, but for my life. Yeah. And it made me more responsible person. Because earlier I used to think about only myself in a nutshell, or like a small ball. But, this book tells you, like, anyone comes on this earth, there is a sense of responsibility. So it's not only your family. It might be community, might be society, might be country, might be for this mother earth, And then when it changes your mind that way, then all these small things in your life you can easily control. Because I started to love trees more, plants more. I look at them not just like one entity or object. It's like this earth belongs to them as well. Yep. It's just not us. Because what we are doing today with earth is like, I don't want to go into that topic because we need another episode. But coming back to this Kriya Yoga, right? When I learned about these yoga gurus, and this person who written this book, he came to West, basically in 1930s and 40s. And he discussed about it, how the Kriya Yoga works. So basically, our entire body, they tell us like it is, there are 7 chakras, and you ignite all those chakras. So basically start from the Muladhara, which is your base, how we're sitting, and then it goes, to your head. So basically when you meditate, you can just ignite yourself inside.
Yep.
And then it's all about breathing.
Mhm.
So when you breathe, cold air goes in, hot air goes out. And there will be a point, because what I have experienced, and when I have seen like a lot of people, they share their experiences about the meditation. When they try to get into meditation, they go into some sort of imagination. They are lost.
Yep.
Because so many thoughts goes in mind. I'm thinking about that friend is not talking to me, that neighbor is giving me a hard time, my daughter is not listening. All these things. When you work on, your chakras, it puts you in a state which is, you can call it zero.
Yep.
So basically, you are not thinking anything. Nothing. Zero.
Yeah.
You are just inside your body. So your mind is inside your body.
Yeah.
And you go into your body and you can literally hear your breath from your ears. It's just going out, coming in, going out, coming in. And you won't believe. If you can do it like 10 to 15 minutes or even 20 minutes, and when you come out of it, you will feel lots of energy inside your body. And that positive energy, just think, if you do it every single day,
Absolutely,
what it will do with your body, your mind. So that is that one thing which I have now introduced to myself. That say that this particular yoga, you can't learn yourself. You need a guru for it. I'm still trying to find a guru for it, but I've done a bit of research and I've just started with basic.
Yeah.
And that's why I want to be accountable, responsible. I want to capture myself, because this time around, this is third time I'm trying to lose my weight. I want to reach to a target of 70, but with the mindset that nothing matters for me. I just want to do my duty. Because we have come to this world, there is a purpose to it. And the purpose is not just eating or like wasting my time. If I want to relax, I want to sit home and play with my kids, I will do that. But with a sense of responsibility and accountability. Sorry, I took a lot of time, but I just wanted to discuss about responsibility in this episode.
Definitely. Yeah, no, I completely agree. Like I said, that I'm taking accountability to do the next phase. Well, I feel like I am at the minute, but as I said, I'm definitely not in the best shape I want to be. But I always look back to what I want and then appreciate that journey that has happened. So I've learned so much about fasting, now intermittent fasting. I've learned so much about keto, why it was great for me, why it's not been the best at certain times, why I still keep a lot of the kind of measures of keto within my lifestyle still a lot. But just what am I now trying to achieve? And I think before, it was obviously because I was so weight was the only thing. But now that I know about diabetes more, it's more how do I streamline that and how do I make sure that that's under control. I started learning so much about the gut and everything that you're talking about, even like meditating, thinking about the chakras and things like that. In terms of being grounded, the gut is so important. The microbiome, yes, 100%. So it's weird. Yeah, I go through phases where I'm now focused on the gut and wanting to see how I feel if I do these things. So it's not just managing or making sure that the diabetes is in remission, which it did. So if I managed to put diabetes into remission at around that time that you're talking about. So I went from heavily diabetic down to normal HbA1c.
This is very, very important.
One of the most important things, and I've done those tests before, they had the zone test, the banana test, that telling your markers for your gut, and I was really poor. So I'm going through phases where I'm now trying to tackle that, and how, again, I get kind of
obsessed. So that's your, that one thing.
This is me, that one thing. So it's, right now it's very much about the gut, the microbiome, and how do I make sure I feel better by doing certain things. Some of the things that were a big thing before are more normalized now. I do want to try and do them more, but I want to complain about getting up to go for a 2-hour walk. I'd love to be able to do that.
And this is like, nobody's going to tell you this. Like, no, this one thing which we are discussing about, we go to doctors, we go to all those experts and fitness coaches. They will give you tons of ideas. Everyone will diet, everyone will keto results, this and that, but nobody will talk about your gut health, the meditation, your mind state, your discipline, not outside your gross body, but discipline inside. You said it. This is very important to think about your gut, because when we take birth, our gut is best. And then how with eating this outside food, we just, kind of like completely ruin our gut. And all these diseases come out from our bodies because of the gut.
And you notice, like when I'm testing different things, I don't get ill as often. And it's true. If I'm doing something specific, I'll test it out to see over this period, like how much am I getting ill compared to how much I was, or how quickly am I catching get cold. But I think one fundamental thing that did change was when I got diagnosed, it was and I had a couple of instances where I had to go to like GPs or hospitals before, and they're quite reliant on advice that was given by them. And for me, I think at that point it was, from now on, I'm going to do my utmost to know myself, about myself, rather than someone to tell me that this has happened and it's so late now. There's other things that scare me that I don't want to see like that. It's thinking, if I know it, then I can research what I can do about it first. Not to say I wouldn't take out, but how much more can I benefit by just learning and catching up about what's going on.
And this is, again, which is very catchy for me as well, because now it changed my whole attitude towards losing weight. I no more want to lose weight, but what I want to do, I want to go more into the kriyayog, and to sit more longer in the kriyayog, I need my back straight, because it's all about your spine. Your spine has to be straight. And if I want, or just like think about it, like I'm in my yoga, and then sometimes you don't even realize you are in the yoga for 3 hours. So if you don't have your straight back, you can't, because you can't do yoga lying on your bed or something like that. Your back has to be straight. And this is why, because I want to go in that stage, I just kind of, this is my love. I want to get into the kriyayog. I want to make my body ready for that state. And that's why I want to lose weight. So now I found that sense of purpose, that there's a purpose here. Earlier, I didn't know. There was no purpose. I look good in the mirror. Yes, I achieved it. So many friends come to me, hey, you look good. And then when I got it back, they were laughing on me. They were, what about your rebound, mate? And this is where, mentally, I felt, because these are small things, right? People won't believe that sometimes the big things won't hit you, but the small things might get into your mind and make it hard for you. So there were a lot of things happen. And that's why I say, don't lose weight if you are happy in your life and you are able to do what you want to do. Lose weight when you have purpose, why you want to lose weight. Not just because you want to look good in mirror and you want to show some people around you that you look good now. There should be a sense of, responsibility. He understands the gut. I understand my mind. And that is why we want to lose weight now. And we will show this accountability by recording ourselves quite regularly. And then what do you think, now, how long? So for me, I have set up this April target. What do you think, when you're working on your, but I can see, you're far better. Before I saw you kind of gain weight, but not almost I think you're in 90s, and I can see a lot of energy in you, and I can see your face is shining. So basically, you are working on your gut. I can see that. So what's your target now, which you want to?
I can work to April. Let's see where we are in April.
Okay. All right. So anything else, Rikesh, you want to share before?
Yes. Just to kind of hit it home. Even with diabetes, for example, I still remember back in the day, randomly during the day, I'd be falling asleep. And again, people think when you're not going to eat and you're not going to do, when you better yourself, right, how can you survive that? Where you get the energy to do this, or you're going to lose all your energy. When I was that heavy and I wasn't doing things the right way, I was falling asleep in the middle of the day.
Oh man!
But how young?
This is one of the incidents I remember at work. Right, I came from vacation, like holidays from India, and I was heavy, and I was taking antibiotics because I had cold, and I was like at work on the floor. There were like 1,000 people work. I was in a call. I was in a meeting, and would you believe? I started snoring. I was in deep sleep. And my boss came to me, said, let me pick up. Where I am. So, this reminded me that incident, that all these things, when you're overweight, because you don't create purpose, you're just going, you're just living.
But it's not even that. So there's so many diabetics that I spoke to who think that they're going to live with diabetes forever. My biggest passion now is around diabetes. It's not even just a weight.
That's your podcast, yeah.
Being in the best shape. I've lost a lot of weight, but I still want to look like that. But it's not even just about that now. That will kind of happen. But right now I'm focused on fixing the gut, metabolic flexibility, all that kind of stuff. But diabetes in particular, because my dad has been diabetic since I can remember. He's been on like 4 or 5 tablets for like 20, but yeah, we did 1 month of keto, and I didn't mind that. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a professional, I'm not anything, but I said, just trust me. This is what I'm learning, or whatever. This is what I've done for myself. We're going down to 1 tablet. Wow. In 1 month, where he's been on that many for 20 years. It's understandable. And also looking at scenarios why I used to fall asleep. I've researched why that happens. And it's all to do with, like, not just inflammation, but with insulin resistance. That's the biggest thing about diabetes. And I said, get passionate about what the problem is, and then get excited about how you can fix it first. The amount of people that I speak to who literally think that there's no option, they don't know what to do, they are overweight, and they try everything. Been there, done that, like exercising like crazy, the weight will come back. But it's food timing, right? We all know things like if you eat late at night, then this is going to happen. True, but we don't really ever miss it. But if we were to kind of like now, I manage my kind of day. So right now, I'm not strict keto. I do a lot of carbs. So I'm not carb, and I do a lot of like carb eating within my days. But it's controlled, it's managed. But that's because right now, my main goal is something different than just being low carb. So it's what do you actually want to achieve right now, and what are you trying to? And what's the goal in terms of where?
I can see a purpose there, and that gives you calmness, because you are not rushing to anything.
That's it,
and you don't have to. With that, I think I'd like to thank you very much for coming. I think hopefully we'll show the results now. It's not only about losing weight, but your
making me accountable.
Exactly. So thanks, Rikesh. Thank you very much.